Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in our IFS Cloud video series. My name is Marcel Aushan, I'm an IFS consultant, and today I will be discussing the topic on how to create a collective invoice in IFS Cloud. And there are situations or you have customers to which you deliver, let's say, on a daily basis. So you get in multiple orders from them on a daily basis and you do daily deliveries. And then obviously you need a way to invoice all of those deliveries, all of those orders, maybe at the end of the month, because the customer will tell you, okay, hey, please don't send me an invoice a day, because this will just create extra work for them. They need to register it into the system and pay it separately, so it would be quite a big headache. And this is a very common process, for example, in the automotive industry, where automotive suppliers will just deliver with the so-called scenario of just in time. So the automotive company will not build stock. They want to be as lean as possible, but they would require their suppliers to deliver on time. So when they need those parts, they should be available so they don't stop the production line. And obviously this means you will do frequent deliveries on different orders from your automotive customer, but your customer expects just one invoice at the end of the month. So with this functionality, collective invoice functionality will cover this scenario. So in the previous videos, we saw how to create invoices after we delivered a shipment, how to create customer order invoices. Now we will see how to create collective invoices, and I will explain step by step everything that you need to know. So let me just jump into the system really quickly. And now I'm in the quick order flow handling page, where we see we have a few orders that are delivered. We have 3 orders that are delivered and 1 order that is partially delivered. Basically, these 4, whatever we delivered already, even if it's partially delivered, we could create an invoice for this. But of course, we don't want to create 4 invoices because it's always the same customer. We want to create just one bigger collective invoice. And how do we do that? We don't do it from this screen. From this screen, we can only create customer order invoices if we don't have any shipment. We will go to a screen that's called Create Collective Customer Invoice. But before that, I want to quickly jump into the customer because we need to have a look at some of the customer setup. So I jump into the customer, and here if we show more and go to the sales page, here we have the control for the invoice type. You see here. So in the invoice section, we have invoice type and we have some options. Normal invoice, and this is what we've been doing in the previous videos with normal customer order invoice. So 1 invoice per order. Then we have collective invoice and we have normal and collective. So what we would want to do is go through the collective invoice scenario. So this means in our case, if we set this to collective invoice, we won't be able to create the normal invoice for this customer. So some more things that we will also look at with collective invoice, we can also specify. So if you have an agreement with your customer that every 20th of the month you need to send them a collective invoice, then here you can define exactly that. If you press the plus sign, you could say either end of the month, and then it could be 30 or 30th or 31st or 28 if it's February, or you can specify a specific day, let's say 20th of the month. And this setup will be considered when we schedule, and I will show you after we create a collective invoice that there is an option to schedule a background job to create collective invoices as a batch job. And then that job will also look at the day of the month and if it's eligible for creating the invoice, the collective invoice. So I'll just say cancel new for now, and we will come back to this page a bit later. For now, let's see how to create a collective invoice. And for this, we will go to a page that's called create collective invoice. I'll just start typing call inv, yeah, and we see we have two pages. One is the batch create collective customer invoices, yeah, where we can schedule this to run as a background job, but we want just to do it online for today. So we go to create collective invoice, collective customer invoices, and we see here by default we have one line, yeah, for this customer, and we can see how many orders we have to invoice. Yeah. And if you remember, in the quick order flow, we saw exactly 4 orders that could be invoiced. Yeah. We had 3 in status delivered and 1 partially delivered. Yeah. So you can see here, now we found this row here, and if your setting in the customer is not set up to collective invoice, you will never find anything here. Yeah. So this is very important. And the normal customer order invoice is in this screen, yeah, create customer invoices, but there we should not see anything for this customer because we said that this customer is collective only, yeah. So we see we don't have this customer. So I go back to create collective customer invoices. Yeah, maybe one more thing to mention, if we would have set up the customer to allow for both normal and collective, then we would see the records here and we would also see them in create customer invoices screen. Good. And what do we do from here? We just press the create collective invoice button. Yeah, we get a information message, customers will be invoiced. Yeah, that's correct. This is what we want. And now there is a background job that's running, and it should create the order. Let's go to background job, open it in a new tab. Okay, yeah. Now I just refreshed and there's no more data here, so obviously the background job ran and it created the customer invoice, the collective customer invoice. And if I have a look at the background jobs, let me see what conditions I have here. I just want to show everything. Yeah, you see this one, create collective customer invoices, is in ready status. That's good. And then we can come back to our create collective customer invoices, and from here, yeah, we can either go back into the quick order flow one more time back, yeah. And now if I refresh here, yeah, we see we only see the order that's partially delivered, yeah, because we still can deliver the rest of the quantity and the one that's released. Let me also show invoice closed. And now we also see this one, for example, we know for sure it was this A number was included in our collective invoice. Now we can jump into it, into the customer order. And from here we can go to invoice and invoice information. Now we see the customer invoice line. And if we jump into the customer invoice, and this is where the magic happens. If we jump into the customer invoice, here we can see that we have a collective invoice. Yeah, if we go to general tab, we can see here invoice type is customer order collective invoice debit. Yeah, and then we have the different invoice dates, our customer reference, and so on. Yeah, if we look at the references, here we will not find any order number. In normal customer order invoice, where you have one order, one invoice, here you will always have the order number as a reference. But in this case, we don't have it because it's a one-to-many relationship. So we have one invoice, but many customer order lines. And we could see we have 4 different lines in the invoice, one for each order that we invoiced. Yeah, obviously in all the orders, we just delivered one piece of our Cube Reaction Pro bicycle. And here, more to the right, we can see the reference to the order number, which is what we want. Now, if we go ahead and print the work copy, I go to share and try to print a work copy to see how the layout looks like. We could immediately see how this layout looks like. Preview. And now the PDF is created and downloaded, and now we can see we have a collective invoice with an invoice number, still the preliminary series because we haven't yet released the invoice or finally printed it. And we have the customer address, latest ship date, because you remember we have multiple orders inside, so multiple shipments, but here we see the latest ship date. And then order by order we have the details. So for the first order, A139, we delivered this. And for a total of 2,500. Then for the second order, again with all the details, addresses and all that, you can have different delivery addresses for each order, but as long as the invoicing customer is the same, then everything will be inside the same collective invoice. So we have the second delivery of a Cube Reaction Pro, also the delivery note is referenced. Then we have the third, and finally the fourth order. So in this case, and at the end we have the total. So we have sold 4 bicycles with 4 different delivery notes, and we have a total of 10,000. And in the end, this makes it much smoother for the customer. They just get one invoice for deliveries. Everything is referenced in here, and they will just make one payment in the end. So going back into the application, I saw everything was correct in the print work copy, and now I can go ahead and release the invoice. And if everything is fine with the posting control setup, this one should move from preliminary into posted authorized. And indeed we see now it's moved to posted authorized status. Now from here the process would be finance will create a mixed payment or import a bank statement file with the customer payment, and then this one will be moved to paid posted. Good. Now let's maybe go back into the customer and see what other options we have. We briefly discussed about this option. If we go to sales, so besides just specifying the invoice type as being collective, which allows you to only create collective invoice, we can even specify a collective invoice closing date. So if we specify here 20th of the month, for example, this is what we agreed with the customer, that 20th of every month they will get our invoices. Then we will need to schedule a background job. So we can go to a screen that's called batch create collective customer invoices. And here we have the option to schedule. We can give the parameters. In this case, I say for this company, for any site, any customer, any currency, any payment term, just go ahead and run this job, maybe on a daily basis at midnight. We can change this to weekly, monthly, or so on. But we can say, just run it daily, because we could have a scenario where we have multiple customers with different collective invoice closing dates. So we want this batch job to run daily, and then this batch job will check the date. If it's 20th of the month, we'll create the collective invoice for all the deliveries that were not yet invoiced for Decathlon Germany. Maybe another customer, you have 25th of the month, and then in that case, if it's 20th of the month, only invoices for Decathlon Germany will be created, and on the 25th, the new invoice, collective invoice for the other customer will be created. So this process is quite flexible and offers a lot of possibilities to agree with customers different dates within a month to create a collective invoice. But obviously, I think the most widest spread setup is in this collective invoice closing date. At least from what I've seen with customers that I worked with, they all choose end of the month. Yeah, so because they want to get the invoice created at the very last day of the month, so that they can recognize the revenue, yeah, in that month, so they don't carry it over into the next month. Yeah, this is the most seen setup in my perspective. And then you make sure that your background job that creates collective invoices will only create it at the end of the month, and then it's just a matter of finance going and seeing the preliminary collective invoice. If everything is fine, they will just release it and then send it to the customer. So this was all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's quite a great functionality. Until next time, stay safe. Bye.